How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast, the show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw.
And I am the other one, Tim Wagner.
Tim, we got a little bit of a different kind of show. We are going to freestyle. I don't want to say freestyle. It's not like we don't have this.
I said a hip, a hop, a hip.
Hip, hop, no, hop, hop. That's definitely not a freestyle. Anyways, this is not going to fall into our normal fishing and random takes sort of episode. It is not a holiday special, but we are going to go into sort of a year in review. We're going to kick it off with a year in review sort of situation, our goals, our fishing goals for 2022. You know, we're going to just let this one flow. We're just going to talk. But
yeah,
before we get into the podcast, we're going to do what we always do, something fairly new. Oh, shit. That was a freestyle. We're going to get into a little bit of fishing news.
Fishing news.
And we'll do the housekeeping right after that, too. But kick it off right here with the fishing news. This one was actually something that I retweeted, and I was like, oh, my God, this is part of the reason why we do what we do. The Minnesota DNR, look up your local, for everybody outside of Minnesota, the Department of Natural Resources, what we call it here in Minnesota. You've definitely, if you've listened to the show, heard us talk about it before. These are the folks out there taking care of our outdoor spaces, is looking for funding ideas. Now, whatever your local, one is, I'm sure they're going through a similar situation because there's not that many people out there fishing and hunting anymore. Having a hard time cycling in new people. Got this from NPR News.
That's what they're saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's bullshit. You know why I said it's bullshit?
Yeah.
What you tell me what the article is, and then I'll say if it's bullshit because I have to hear what they say.
Okay.
I shouldn't I shouldn't be shitting on it right away because you're like, I got an article and I'm like, fuck that article. I haven't heard a word it said yet.
So, the story failed to mention 2020 was like one of the best years for license sales for fishing entirely. Being a fishing podcast, obviously we have to point that out right away because it was something we talked about pretty heavily in 2020 and in early 2021. So we know from the fishing side of things that there was a huge uptick, because of COVID and just not having anything else to do. So now if they're seeing something different this year, as things started to, we're coming out of the heavy lockdowns and stuff here in 2021, going into 2022. And if they're seeing, it did not mention if they're seeing people hanging on. My guess is, based on this article, they're not seeing people hang on. You said it. Well, I can't remember exactly what episode it was, but you're just like, yeah, watch all these people. Watch Craigslist. Watch Facebook sales. These people are going to be selling a lot of shit, and they're going to be selling some good shit for cheap.
yeah, because they're going to get the bug. They're going to be like, we got to do something. And now they're like, I don't think I should have spent all this money on all this shit.
So I haven't got any great deals. I didn't get any great deals in 2021. I haven't looked at anything here for upcoming ice fishing season, but maybe I should keep my eyes peeled.
Yeah.
But that was the first thing I just wanted to kick off. They did not mention that, 2021 was one of the highest sales fishing license sales in recent years.
Okay.
But they just said basically that the DNR is reporting that we're having a hard time getting people to rotate in. Grandpa hunts, but none of the 4 grandchildren hunt. That's basically like how they opened up the story. Grandpa's like 80 something, went out. He's like, I'm retiring. It's my last year hunting.
Yeah.
Gets a deer. That's it. He's going out on a high note, and none of his
Right.
4 grandchildren, he's able to pass it on to, right?
Yeah.
So that was sort of their kickoff example. But so then I just want to, we'll get into a little bit more,
Well,
but I want to hear what
I
you.
mean, like my whole thought was just like what you got to. Like it was record sales and you couldn't buy anything cuz all the shelves were cleared out of everything.
Right.
And I
Right.
was just like, I think we got quite a few people interested. Maybe they didn't go back to it immediately, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I bet there's a lot of turnover and I bet it opened up some people's eyes and stuff, you know? Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I can totally see, you know, where it was the other way too. I guess it just depends on who you're talking to. Because I could totally see Grandpa being like, "I'm gonna go hunting," and then like all the grandkids just being like, "You sit in the stand and just wait for a deer to pass." God, Grandpa's stupid. I'm gonna play Fortnite. You know.
I had the exact same thought in my head. I was even going to use Fortnite as the example. It's so much
Nice.
more entertaining to be on Fortnite.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, and you saw that, like, you being an avid angler, just have always been out there for years now, is you saw the shortage, like you were shopping through the shortage.
Dude, yeah, I was just like trying to buy stuff to go fishing and just like
Mhm.
none of this shit I buy is here. It's like just like everything's cleared out. Like I wanted to it was a shitty year for me to really start to get into ice fishing last year because I was never much of an ice fisherman. You know, I always fished in the summer and
Right.
then I was like I'm going to get serious about it this year. I'm going to buy everything. I'm going to go get everything I need.
Hmm.
And I just got lucky that
Sure.
I happened to know somebody that works at well not know somebody but Markham was one of the places that I deliver to as a
Yep.
delivery driver.
Hmm.
So I talked to people there and like they just kind of basically were like we have this unit available. We can sell it to you like direct. And you couldn't find that shit in any stores.
Oh
So
shit.
so just
Right.
like
So you got the
yeah,
hookup.
dope. Yeah. Yeah, so I got it like directly from the source before it hit the shelves and I lucked out, but you couldn't
Right.
find it anywhere. And it's
Hmm.
like, that's never happened before. All the other years I've been like walking through like
Right.
a whole row of them. And
Right.
that's why I was like, when they're like, we're having a hard time getting people, like, really? Because I've never seen shit go off the shelves like I did last year.
Right. Right.
So I guess it may be in comparison, one of those things where it's, like a corporation
Hmm.
where like sales are down from last year. Yeah. But did you compare it to the year before that? You know,
Right. Right. Yeah,
because
exactly.
that's gonna be
Because the
the
year before that was like one of the best years of all time.
right. Yeah, like I don't think you're gonna beat it. You know, you
Yeah.
had you had a pandemic that stopped everybody from doing anything except for going outdoors.
Except for going outside. Yes,
When
exactly.
is that ever gonna happen again? Hopefully
Right.
never.
Right. Yeah. And that was actually, they pointed that out. They're like, well, that's
Whoops.
now why now is the time to do it, right? Before we forget about 2019, before we forget about early, parts of 2020, and like get these people who are now in it to stay in it. And we got lucky. I mean, we've been talking about this podcast for years ahead of time of actually doing it. And
Yeah.
then we finally did it. And it was because of COVID and getting, partially cut back on hours and all this other stuff. And so we just got lucky that like the fishing was growing when we were doing this. It's not like we saw a trend and we're like, oh, now's the time. Uh,
Right.
we never have chased the trend, a trend. Like, we're from Minnesota, we're just fish.
Yep.
Um, but the point that I'm trying to get to there, that I'm circling around, is that hopefully we're reaching some of those people that were in and they were at home and then would go fishing and then would come home and go fishing and they had nothing else to do. And we're keeping them interested. And that's why I like this article so much, in the sense of like, it's a good thing to point out, because I would, from what the way the article said it, is the DNR is like seeing the trend and the spike that was, from the pandemic and people going outside, the spike that made the sales and stuff like that
Right.
was a spike,
Sure.
and that the general trend is down, and I'm doing
Okay.
up. I'm like the general trend, and I'm doing an up. No, the
Yeah.
general trend is down. That's the way the article really made it sound. And what it really comes down to here is that the DNR is actually looking for input, because there's things like Texas passed a law where all the sales tax on sporting goods, just sporting goods, sales tax on sporting goods, all of
Yeah.
it now gets reverted to our friends over at the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. We've talked about them before.
Yeah.
So they just get all recreational money now. Here in Minnesota, we pay tax on guns and lures and stuff, or tax reels, like
Yeah.
the people who are doing this stuff and paying the licenses and stuff like that. We also pay us a little bit increased tax on the gear to go do this stuff.
Right.
But now people are going out and they're doing things like mountain biking, bird watching, cross country skiing. That stuff doesn't have the extra tax on it.
Sure.
Those are recreational sports equipment. That's a recreational sport. It takes recreational equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the Minnesota DNR is looking for some input. I'll put the link to the NPR. I'll put the link to the DNR site. It's just the DNR looking back at the past and saying, hey, we haven't really done anything about this since the 60s. I think it's time to, reevaluate a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, because I don't know how all their money works, but I thought they got some of the lottery. I thought some of the Minnesota State Lottery
Yeah. Yep.
went towards them for proceeds and stuff, but I suppose...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does too, because the lottery is very big with the loon and saying like we help the outdoors and stuff like that, if I remember their marketing material properly.
Yep. So go buy your scratch off tickets if you don't want to go fishing.
Yeah. Exactly. Or if you participate in something that isn't hunting and fishing, and you want to make sure that that space still stays pristine, because you just riding your snowmobile across the lake, the lake is there funded very heavily by people fishing on it.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm not saying the lake's there because people fish on it.
And just a random side note, if you get the scratch off lottery tickets, you should recycle that shit, because it's cardboard. I see so many tickets where people scratch them off and they lose, and then they just throw that shit on the ground. Like, littering's not cool in the first place, but throw it in the
right. What the
recycling bin. You just lose, and then you're just like, you're always going to be a loser if you got that attitude.
Yeah.
You loser. Put it in the recycling bin.
For real. That was a good one. All right. Again, I'll put the links of the to the stories and to the DNR input in the YouTube description. So,
dude,
if you're listening to the Real AF TV podcast on one of those other services, you can, and you're curious to check out these links, go over to YouTube and look us up, Real AF TV, real like fish and reel, and find this episode. First one of 2022, man.
Boom. And just because I randomly brought up scratch off lottery tickets, well, it wasn't randomly, I guess we were talking about conservation. It all played in. Yeah, but I just heard on a different podcast that there was some guy, I forget where exactly it was from, but his friend bought this guy a scratch off lottery ticket for like a birthday or whatever, and he ended up like winning $1,000 on it, like years past. His friend knew that he just had some heart surgery or something, and so he goes and he buys him like a get well soon card or something, makes sure to go back to the same place that he got the old scratch off lottery ticket from, buys that lottery ticket, sends it to him. Dude scratches it off, and it was some sort of like a crossword puzzle thing.
Yep.
He scratches it off. First 3 letters in this crossword are the guys, like the dude that had the heart surgery, the one that got sent the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
It was his initials were the first 3 letters.
Okay.
And then the thing that got him the winning prize, however this game ended up being,
Yep.
was heartfelt, but it was like the heart of the word heartfelt
Yeah.
that got him the winning, and it was the $1 million ticket. It was like the
No
big prize.
way, dude.
Isn't that gnarly? Like it's
Holy
your
shit.
initials are in there, and
Yeah.
your winning word is heart, and
Right.
it's from a get well
It's a,
soon card because you had heart surgery or whatever.
right. Right. And it was the
Just
big one too. Like it
yeah,
wasn't
and the
even
big
like
winner.
it was
Yeah.
just like that was the one. All other ones just shut it down.
Yep.
Holy shit, dude. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So
That's cool.
go buy your scratch off lottery tickets. Maybe you'll have a story to tell and you'll help the DNR out.
Yeah.
But only if you're in Minnesota. If you're from Wisconsin, then come over across the border and buy scratch off lottery tickets from Minnesota. Help us out, not your own state.
Yeah. But I would guess if you look something up like this, in different states, like I said, Texas just passed something, to help out here, um, to help out in the situation. So I'm sure that it's something that if you follow trends, you're probably seeing it. So check it out. All right.
Check it out.
All right, let's get into some housekeeping. We're sponsored by Monster Bass again. We'll talk about that later, though. And we are going to ask you, listeners, to go over to, or watchers. Remember, we're on video now. If you go to YouTube and you follow us on and subscribe to the YouTube channel, the podcast is on video now.
Look at
Uh,
that.
go over to realaf.tv/contact and give us some feedback on the show. This is our first episode of 2022. We are always looking for ways to improve it. We love to hear from you guys and get your feedback, but also look us up, Real AF TV. Remember, Real like fish and reel on the major social media platforms besides TikTok. We're just not. TikTok beat Google this year for the most visited website. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah.
More
For the
people
first
go to
time in like
TikTok
12
than
years.
Google.
More people went to TikTok than Google this year in 2021. Not this year because we're in 2022 now, but you know what I
Dude,
mean.
everybody's just addicted to their phones and stuff. Like they're about to pull out their
Yeah.
phone to Google something. Like I had a question to ask,
Right.
but I just need to watch people dance.
I can't help myself.
I can't help it.
Yeah, so don't give us feedback on TikTok because though we're there, we're not doing anything yet. So, anyways, follow Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, that stuff. But also, pod reviews. Spotify now has pod reviews. We are on Spotify,
We are.
iTunes. This stuff helps the podcast get noticed so much. This is my
Very
call
much
out
so.
in the housekeeping.
Yes.
Please give us a review. We may read it on the show.
Heck yeah. Probably.
Yep, probably.
And if you want, let us know. We'll keep your name secret. Not going to put you on blast, but we might read it out to be like, hey, this person says that.
Yep.
Not,
for sure.
don't
I even have a spot on realaf.tv where if we get reviews that we appreciate quite a bit, I will put it up on the website as well. Don't forget we're on Amazon. Also, that's actually how I'm going to kick off our topic, which is going to be 2021 sort of in review. Like, what are we proud of with Real AF TV? What did you do in your fishing? What fishing was done that we have to just bring up, and then we're going to roll into some 2022 fishing goals. But again, we are on Amazon, and that is what I wanted to say about Real AF TV, and just things that I wanted to say. Hey, I'm proud that we got ourselves on Amazon, that we got up and running on iHeartRadio. I think that was in 2020. Yeah, that had to have been in 2021.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep, because I remember messing around with Alexa.
Yeah, that's right. It took quite a bit. It was in the sense of it was quite the learning experience from a technical standpoint. It cost us a little money from a financial standpoint, so you can go to patreon.com/realeftv. Help support the podcast. But we had some hiccups with the podcast feed. Some were resolved, some never got resolved. Like, I don't know why Spotify won't go download the Halloween podcast again. All the other feeds did, but I still love listening to it on Spotify. That platform is getting crazy good. Do you listen
Yeah.
to Spotify? I just want to kind of
So yeah, so I was always a Google guy, but there's been some things that have been annoying with Google where like they haven't been uploading the feeds on time
huh.
and just a couple of things like that where it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's been annoying. Also, it like randomly stops playing every once in a while.
Oh, weird.
So I started, yeah, and sometimes like when I'll go into it, it's just like it's like can't play that video, cannot refresh feed or whatever, and you're like, why?
Hmm.
And then I go and open it up on Spotify and it just works. So I'm like, I think I might be starting to go just to Spotify here because this is nice.
Interesting. Really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, but I do like Spotify for the most part too. I haven't seen Spotify like lose any of my shit.
Oh,
Where, as in, like, you
like
know
where
how
you are
if
in
you
the episode or something like that?
like, yeah, if you have the podcast, it'll show you if they've been listened to or whatever.
Mhm.
And your mom's house podcast
Mhm.
has been going for like 10 years. So
Yeah,
I was trying to go through the back catalog,
sure.
and then one day it was just like all of them were like new episodes, and I'm like, no, I've listened to most of these. And
Oh,
how am I supposed to keep track when we're on like episode 600 something?
right,
Like now I
right.
have no idea where I am, and Spotify hasn't seemed to do that yet.
Huh.
So I
That's
don't know.
interesting. And it wasn't because like your mom's house peeled off a bunch of
No, it
podcasts
happened. It
and
happened to all of
archived
them.
them or something like that.
Nope. It happened to all of them. That was just the main one where I was really going.
Hmm.
That was. I mean, that's really one of the only ones you have the option to do it on. There's not a whole lot of podcasts that have been out there for 10 years. So when you're going through
Right.
that back catalog, it's even
Yeah.
if you lose your spot, you kind of have an idea of where you were. And
Mhm.
yeah. Plus, I don't know if they have to pay for it or whatever, but on Google, I can only go back to like episode 400. Spotify has the whole library.
Interesting.
Yeah, so some stuff on Spotify is just like they have the whole thing.
Yeah. Actually,
But,
oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, as far as comedy goes,
Mhm.
they are in some weird deal. There's something that a lot of the comedians have went through where this third party was like, we're gonna get you your rights, like a
Yeah.
recording artist gets
Yep.
paid off of making the music and then whatever, and they're trying to
Yeah.
get them the right. I don't know the ins and outs
Essentially,
of
if
it.
it gets played on Spotify, they owe you a quarter. Is
Oh,
that
something
kinda
like
what you're
that.
talking about?
Well, I don't know exactly what it is, if it's like that, but for whatever reason, this third party is they're just basically saying like they need to get credit for being like the writer and the performer,
Mhm.
like if I'm
Mhm.
understanding it correctly,
Mhm.
where some of the other ones are only paying you for one part of it,
Just being the
like
artist, probably.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
because like on the other end of it, like a recording artist, the recording artist is getting paid, and so is the writer, and so whatever it
The
is,
record
and the
company and
yeah, and the
yeah,
comic
the
is like
publisher is what
yeah,
it's
and the
probably
comic is like everybody in one.
right.
So they're like, no, you can't just pay me for one thing because I'm one guy. You have to be giving, and it's
Right.
like whatever this third party is the one that's trying to be like, no, this is how this works.
Oh,
And for
okay.
whatever reason, Spotify and this third party have beef right
Oh,
now, and I don't know
interesting.
what's happening. So that's like
Okay.
Pandora. I can listen to all the comedy I want. But if
Right.
you go to Spotify and you try to pull up anybody's album, like Dan Cummins, Kyle Kinane, there's quite a few other names that
Okay.
are on this list, and
Yep.
there is no comedy whatsoever.
Okay. And you're not
Yeah.
talking podcast. They're not talking comedy podcast. You're
No,
talking
I'm talking,
comedy
yeah, I'm talking like
records,
comedy.
stand up, however
Yes.
you want to define
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah. So as far as podcasts go, for sure, I'm listening to Spotify. But as far as,
Like entertainment
music,
wise, you're kind of like
yeah.
drifting away. And
Yep.
Spotify's been making a big change to go to, I mean, well, we already saw that with Rogan and stuff. Maybe we're getting too far down this right now for a year in review about, we're just like going through like, so what's going on in production? Let's, okay, let's wrap that up. Is there anything else you want to say? Because that's just crazy. I just want to, I want to keep
No.
that conversation going, but I'm thinking that we're losing the listeners here because we're
Yeah.
kind of getting in
I
our own space
apologize.
right now.
If the only other thing I'd like to say is just a question. Anybody out there, if
Yes.
you know anything about Stitcher, can anybody explain to me why that's a thing?
Yes.
I don't
Very
understand.
good question.
I don't understand Stitcher. Like, there's so many other apps that are available, and I don't know. It just seems weird to me. Was it
Mhm.
just one of the first things out there, and now I don't know.
Right. Is it like the MySpace of podcast? Because that's why I haven't pursued it. And that's actually why at the beginning, I just called in our housekeeping section, I called out realaf.tv/contact to let us know more. Because I think throughout this episode, we're going to do a few things like that, because that was actually how I wanted to wrap this up and say, like,
Yeah,
we just talked a shitload about Spotify. We talked about Google. We've been on Google since the beginning. I think it works really great on an Android phone, but I'm also running uh the podcast um on new podcasts, basically. Like, I'm using Google Podcasts for new podcasts only. You
okay,
talked about your backlog,
yeah,
right? And I'm only using it on brand new stuff. It's just like, hey, I get a notification, I go, okay, cool. um because there's also iTunes, which is my primary podcast. And I listen to Stuff
sure.
You Should Know on there, and Stuff You Should Know is like 10, 20 years old too.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't know, it's old. And their backlog is gone on there. When I used to listen
Yeah,
to WTF, their backlog is gone, and it's
yeah.
because there's a restriction on space.
Oh,
And so, yeah, they have to move their backlog somewhere else. And I know a ton of people listen to iTunes. Um, just generally speaking, like, it's still one of the biggest. Apple Podcasts is still one of the biggest ones, and we're on there too.
yeah.
And eventually, hopefully we'll hit that backlog point, and then what do? I don't know.
You go to Spotify. They have it. I don't know. I don't know how they
Yeah,
can do it, but they can.
no, for sure.
So,
For sure. So
yeah,
please give us your feedback. Like, we want to hear. If you're on YouTube, just leave it in the comments on YouTube and say you guys are talking too much about podcast service. I just use YouTube.
right,
Uh,
right.
but that's why we have the realaf.tv/contact for you podcast users that can't just like give that immediate feedback. Shoot us
Yeah.
an email while you're listening to this on your phone. And
You know, the other, well, like, I listen to Spotify because I listen to Rogan, and that's the only place you can get Rogan now,
right.
because you
Yep.
signed the deal.
Yep.
But I think that that's super cool on Spotify how they just have his video integrated, like right on Spotify. I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
listen to it. It's just
Yep.
like
Yep.
together.
Yeah.
You're listening to the audio,
Hmm.
and at any point in time, you can just pull out your phone and the video is playing right there.
Right. Yeah, and that's a big thing that they've done with That's a big thing that Spotify's been doing, is like integrating like that. They actually bought out a network that I started following. They started a whole company based on podcasts, just like,
Sure.
we're gonna make quality podcasts. Like, that's our
Is it
deal.
is it insane to you that it is like seamless? It blows my mind
But
that I'm listening to a podcast. I pull up my phone and there's no loading, there's no buffering, there's just video, like ready at any point. I don't understand. Are we just that far into the future where you're listening to something and I can pull up my phone and they're just like,
yeah,
here's the video ready to
yeah,
roll? Like, it
yeah,
hadn't been playing video and then it's just playing video. It's just
yeah,
nuts. Like, even YouTube, if I go to YouTube,
yeah,
it has to load the shit.
yeah.
It's just
Because
nuts.
it's like buffering that in the background, even though you're not watching it.
Yeah.
It's like it's still syncing it in the
Right.
background. Like even though it's not showing the video feed, it technically kind of has it
Am I burning
loading.
more battery doing that? Listening to Spotify on Rogan then? Well,
If you have your screen on,
it's my only choice. But if I don't have my screen on, it shouldn't be doing anything different.
I mean, yeah, you're getting a little bit more data feed because
Oh, cool.
it is keeping the video in sync, but it's
Okay,
not
so
enough
it
to
is
burn your
doing a
battery
little
out.
bit
No,
more.
it's not
Yeah,
going to make
but
that big of a difference.
it still blows my mind.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
video.
no. we live in the future, and actually see that's one thing we did launch. That's one of our big achievements in 2021 in my opinion,
Mhm.
is we finally got the video all working out, and there hasn't been enough time yet for me to look into since we launched the video just a few episodes ago, but I'm kind of like, dude, I wonder what it takes to get Spotify video. So that is in my,
Yeah, I don't know.
this is what I'm saying. Like, we're going to
Yeah.
be free flowing now because for real AFTV goals in 2022, it's get the video feed on Spotify so that people have options.
Have you seen anybody else do it besides Rogan?
No, the big network that
Yeah.
they bought out that I was talking about, Gimlet Media, they were their own independent podcasting
Yeah.
company.
Okay.
And they were basically like a radio department without a radio, right? Or without a call sign.
Yep.
And what they did is they got bought out by Spotify, and they're just keep doing their thing. And they
Right.
talk about video every once in a while or popping
Okay.
up visuals during it. So I guess you could just like at
Sure.
30 minutes and 22 seconds, boom, here's this image that we're
Right.
talking about that you could go see on our Instagram if you're on any other one. But if you're on Spotify, just pull your phone out. There it is.
Right. Boom. Okay. Yeah, because
Mhm.
I know that they bought out the Parcast network too, which is like the serial
Mm.
killers and stuff that I
Okay, like
listen to. But I don't think they have a video feed.
yeah,
You know,
right.
they're just
And no,
telling you
neither
a
does
story.
Gimlet right now. They talk about it. I haven't seen it yet because I'm still listening to them on iTunes. But they've only made quick references, and never once have they indicated they're going to video because they're not. That's never what they were founded on.
Sure. Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like that's going to change at all.
Right.
They're just going to keep doing their
Yeah,
thing.
and the videos, like the ones that I'm talking about, they wouldn't do video. Like, it's better left to the imagination.
100%.
Besides the serial killer shit, like, what are you gonna do? Pay actors and get all this fake gross shit that you're gonna?
No, then you're just making a Netflix special.
No, yeah, I don't want to watch most of that stuff.
Yeah,
I just want like the imagination is where it's just like, oh,
right, exactly. Oh, okay. We've talked enough of inside baseball here. Let's jump off of podcasting for a little bit and
yes,
talk about well, I mean, we talked about video, so I better touch on the video again really quick before we leave this. Is I know I said I was doing video, so this is a goal and a failure all in one, sort of. Is I am editing video. We do have video. I'll even say what it is. It's a crappy video.
Yeah,
it's a crappy video, and I'm doing a crappy job on it.
Nah.
No, Tim has some really nice crappie footage from the spring, right? Early summer.
Yes. Yep. Springtime, because it was the spawn.
It was the spawn. Yeah. So we have some really good crappie 2021 crappie spawn footage. I did start editing. I do have 3/4 on the timeline, and then the holidays hit. And the short version of what I'm trying to say is I know I said I would have some out. I can't remember because I didn't go back on that specific podcast, but I said that we'd get it out. I'm still working on it, everybody who's listening. Make sure to follow us on YouTube. I promise you, it's coming. 2022 Real AF TV will have video out. Okay? Mark those words. Somebody actually mark those words. Keep me in
Mark 'em.
check. Remember, you can
35
find
minutes
us.
and 15
Really tell
seconds
us.
in.
So, okay, let's get off of some of the production stuff and get into some fishing, because though we talk, I always talk about fishing on here, I want to kick off 2022 by doing two things. One, let's just talk about some successes in 2021, right? Just like successful fishing stories, because we just talked about sort of the successful production stuff. Two, 2022 goals, fishing goals specifically. I have a dock open, a second dock from our production dock. I'm taking notes, dude. We're going to make it public. We're going to put it out there. And then we're going to check in throughout 2022.
Let's do it.
That's my whole idea behind this episode. I know we're like half an hour in and haven't even really got to the episode, but that's like my basis for this episode, that I wanted to say, let's put it on the record, dude. We've talked about it. We've done this before and we've kind of just chatted and whatever. I didn't even go back to last year's in an effort to say, start 2022 fresh. Let's have this conversation, take this doc. It's going to go on our social medias. We're going to put it out on realaf.tv. It's going to be out there. And we'll just check in, see how we're doing, criticize ourselves, hopefully get the listeners to engage us and say, hey, what are you doing? And share their list too. Shit. Make a list. It helps. You just check it every once in a while.
Vision board.
Yeah, man. Well put. Well put. So let's just first, before we get into the vision board, I just want to say that 2021, you still had some good fishing.
Yep.
What was one of your bigger achievements that you did this year, and does it have any impact on your 2022? Sorry.
Yes. Mine, I set a new personal best walleye fishing.
That's right.
And that was in big part of learning more about walleye fishing and learning where I should be fishing in the springtime and stuff, and getting a feel for it and knowing really the knowledge came that I need, that I have a very short window. And there's no hesitation. You need to hit it when you hit it, and then when it's time, it's time. And you need to go and you need to get it done. And that's with the crappie spawn and all that other stuff. Like, there's a couple of windows that are very short, and you need to hit those. So I've learned that come springtime again, I need to be very vigilant. And when it's time to get out there, for the video side of things too, like I need to be paying attention. I need to have everybody in my circle, be aware of this. Like, when it comes time, it's time, and there's no, like, but I really wanted to go do this. No, you do your plants next weekend. There are walleyes to be caught, and I need to do this.
Right. Almost that, like, hey, I planned this in January that I was going to get out within this window. You knew that.
Yeah, I started planning this the moment I caught my personal best last year. This has been a year in the making.
Yes, dude. Oh, that is so awesome. And that's a perfect transition. Not transition, but it's a perfect way for me to bring up that walleye fishing is something I really want to do this year because one, there's been 2 Christmas specials out now for Real AF TV, and both times I opened up walleye stuff. And
Mm,
technically speaking, I cannot recall one time where I personally went specifically walleye fishing.
yeah. Yeah, you had
So,
mentioned that you caught that one, but we weren't trying for walleyes because that was before the season opened. We were trying to catch other stuff.
yeah, and I've been fishing. There was that one time we made smoked walleye, right? I think we cut that one in half, and half of it went smoke, and half of it went in the oven, right?
Yes.
I think it
Or
just
we,
roasted that. It was a big
yeah.
walleye. It was a really nice walleye.
Yeah, we took one fillet. Yeah, for sure. We smoked one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and
we
then
weren't
did
fishing for
something with the other one.
walleye, and
Candied the
also
other one
you
or
caught it.
something.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
That was in the
candy.
river. We were just trying to catch whatever was out there. I thought I was gonna catch a smallmouth. I ended
Yep.
up catching a pretty decent walleye off of the river. There's a
Yeah.
picture of
Yep.
that
I found
on
a little pool. I was
Instagram.
trying to pull in some little panfish, and we're just trying to whatever was gonna bite, we catch, just fish, and if
Yep.
we caught eaters, we were gonna eat them. Like the smoker was gone, and we were out fishing.
Yep.
Whatever
Yep.
happened happened.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I have that down because 2 Christmas specials now. I've unwrapped, unboxed, whatever you want to say, the walleye stuff.
Yeah.
And so just walleye fishing. I'm going to keep it so that broad for my goal because I am not the avid fisherman that you are. And if I keep
Sure.
it broad like that, then I think I can achieve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, we can definitely achieve it.
Yeah.
We can we can get you out walleye fishing. Yeah.
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 And I'll add the caveat using new gear. I'll say using the new gear even.
Yeah.
Just so that I don't just sit on that stuff. It's just like I don't think I ever got around to the right season for the last one, or it's like that
Well, we can
deep
catch them
dive
in the
one.
summer. We can
Mm-hmm.
catch them in the summer. Like, sorry, you continue.
No. Oh, I was just saying not in the 2020 Christmas special. I had the deep dive Rapala,
Oh
and
yeah.
you're basically like, oh, you need a trolling motor and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I don't know anybody with like a big trolling motor and go deep and all this stuff. It's
Yeah.
just like that one I opened up and I was like, fuck, man, I'm never gonna use this thing. Not like in the next 5 years, even.
Yeah. But I mean, we can go walleye fishing. You could definitely use your new gear. But
Mm-hmm.
what did you get? What did you unwrap again? I can't think of it. Oh,
The soft
the
plastics.
soft plastic tails. Yeah, dude. I use those kind of swim tails almost exclusively now, and that's what I catch
No,
most of my walleye on.
nice.
That's what I caught. That we talked about it before. The Northland Impulse bait. That's what I caught my personal best off of.
Oh, yeah. Of
Yeah,
course, we've talked about that one. It was your
yeah,
PB for sure. We talked about
yeah,
that. I just didn't connect the dots. This is just a different brand,
yeah.
then
Yep,
essentially.
yep.
Nice,
And I
nice.
don't. The only thing I don't know if yours are scented, which isn't a
No,
huge deal, but it
no,
helps.
no. These
I
are
think it helps.
yeah.
I think it helps
Sure.
the fish hold on to it. I think it helps the savvy ones fool them into
Yeah.
thinking it's actual food. Like when they bite it, they can
Right.
smell it and they might think it's
Mhm.
real. When it's walleyes seem to be real finicky and they pick it up and then they spit it out real fast. But
Walleye
yeah, man.
fishing, and I'm gonna put 4 eaters too, because that's always a big part for me.
Yeah.
Eaters.
So we can eat them up.
Yeah.
They're almost all eaters, really. I mean, unless you're gonna be really
Right.
picky about it. Like if you end up catching a decent sized one, as long as it's not a trophy, and be like
Mhm.
the rules say you can keep one decent sized one. Might as
Yep.
well.
Right.
I'm never that picky on some of the walleyes. Like, I like to put the big fish back,
Right. Yep.
but
We've talked about that for sure.
but
But
when they're
if it's the
walleyes,
only one,
yeah, when it's walleyes, it's a little bit different. Like, they're all good to eat, you know.
mm-hmm.
Because what
Just
happens
a
if I
good eating fish.
Because what happens if I get a big one? I like make the population go down a little bit. Now they're all eaters. I'm catching every single one's a perfect pan size fish. I don't know. I'm not gonna. I definitely don't catch enough to feel like I'm hurting the population. You know,
Right. Yeah.
keep like
Yeah. For sure.
one decent sized one a year.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Most of them are eaters.
Did the walleye did you catch in that, besides you saying like you have to get out during the window, is that something we should put down on your wish board, is like get out in the walleye window, or is that like you don't need to put that down?
We don't need to put that down, no, because that's gonna happen. I just need to.
Yeah.
I need to not just get out fishing. You should. I need to get out for a longer period of time. I need to have all the gear ready. I need to be ready to go in that period of time. And when that period of time comes, I need to be out there for a good amount of time recording, whether it's by myself or somebody else. But we need to be out there fishing with cameras rolling,
Yeah.
is what we need to do. That's my goal for that time of year. Because
Of time.
I went out there trying to get a feel for where the fish were, caught that big one, and then we went back out and did decent again, but no huge ones. And
There we go.
that was also like I talked about on a different podcast where my sister showed up and she's like, "Let's go fishing for crappie." And that's one of the things where I'm just like, no, the crappie spawn is over. You're going to listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. If you would like to go fishing, you are going to fish this way. I'm telling you what to fish for now. Because you saying, I want to go for crappie, and then you catching one fish and thinking it's a success. No. No. Then we're not wasting all our time for crappie when the spawn is over. That's something. This year, I'm putting my foot down. You're not dictating what's going to happen. Also, she's probably not coming fishing again. It's like the first time I've seen her fish in like 10 years. I don't know. Just comes around like
goes all the way back to the beginning of like, this is one of the best years ever for fishing license sales.
Right, exactly. Just finally figure it out. Like, here's where I need to go, and this is what I should be doing this time of year. And then to get a wrench thrown in by somebody who's like, we should do this because I've done this before. It's not time. You came up with the wrong time.
Just saying. All right. Saying. I got your first one down then, is be ready for a good stretch of time with cameras for walleye season.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm putting down on yours. With cameras.
And in general, with cameras. Lots more fishing with cameras.
Fishing with cameras. And you know what? I have to tell everybody, I don't know if you can hear it or not right now, but I know it's going to be possible to hear on the podcast. All you listeners, yeah, I have a noisy mechanical keyboard. I'm a geek.
The keyboard.
What do you want?
I thought you were going to fart.
You're going to hear it. You know.
Everybody, just serious note here. You're going to be able to hear
it? Just want to let you know.
Heyo.
That's a fart.
This year, more farts on the cast.
Fartcast. Coming straight at you.
Fartcast 2022.
We're not a fishing podcast. We're a farting podcast.
This week's random take.
Started to a really shitty radio show.
Pun intended. Auga.
Oh my god. Oh, that's so good. Ah, okay.
That's where put it in the dock. This year we're taking a hard left turn.
Okay. Note hard left, noisy fartcast. Okay.
Noise
Change to
all
noisy
right, good.
fartcast.
Yep.
Change to shitty morning show, noisy
Yeah,
fartcast.
yeah, jock rock fart humor. That's all we are now.
Yes. So back to fishing and goals for me. Um, some people will dispute this. I think that we're on the same page, but pikes are easy to fish. You know, you just
Yeah,
they're gonna bite. They're gonna bite.
hard to hard to catch a big one, but catching pike
Okay,
not hard.
sure. Mm-hmm. Yes, in the part of Minnesota that we fish, they're there. They'll
Yep.
bite. They're aggressive. I want to get an eater, and I've said this in other podcasts, and I didn't get around to it in 2021. The pickled pike bites. I
As
want to
soon as you
make.
said it, I knew where you were going. That's a great
Yeah,
one.
dude.
That's a great goal. Let's
I'm
do it.
so bummed that I didn't do it in 2021. I'm so bummed I didn't get around to it. It just seems like such easily achievable goal
Oh,
that
for sure.
didn't happen, dude. Like what oh my gosh. I eat these during the holidays, but you have the pickled herring, right? Like that's
Yes.
totally a thing in
We
these
just had it.
Scandinavian ass
Yeah.
people's area that we live in.
Yeah. We just had it
And
for
I was like, why
Christmas.
can't we do that with pikes? Pickled pike bites is such a great idea. I think Sam even said it one time, and I was like, yeah, that's a real thing, Sam. Like our
Mm-hmm.
buddy Sam. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
So here we go. I'm putting down pikes specifically for pickled pike bites. Also,
Hell
yes,
yeah.
we will make that into a video.
Right, for sure. I got another one for you
Hit me.
coming at you. Real immediate future here.
Okay. Wow.
I want a couple things. You know how you want to go out fishing for walleye? So do I. Through the ice.
Okay.
I want to have the. I want to go out there specifically targeting walleye and put in the work and not to give up. It's like every time I went
Oh.
out there last
Okay.
year, I was like more or less. I want to get out here. I want to find some fish. I want to pull something through the ice. I know catching panfish, there's
Oh.
better odds of doing it than catching a walleye. So I never went with a larger size. I was just like panfish lures wanting to be productive and
Okay.
never really
Okay.
sat there and been like, I'm going to focus on catching a walleye today,
Okay.
you know? So
Yeah.
that's what I want to do is I am setting a goal for myself for, to get out there and specifically be like, be patient and put in the work, because you have
Nice.
to put in time. It's you're
Yeah.
not going to
Oh,
catch
for
it the
sure.
moment you drop something down the hole. So you got to drop something down the hole and kind of working it, calling it in and
Hmm.
stuff. And
Right.
another thing that I really want to do this year is I'm not necessarily going to say it's a goal because we'll see how things go because I got to do my research and kind of figure out, what is in
Hmm.
what checks all the boxes and still fits my budget, but I really want to
Oh,
get
okay.
a camera for the ice,
Oh.
the
Oh.
underwater
Yeah. Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
So
Sure. Sure.
that is a
You know what? I'm gonna put this as like an asterisk for the walleye fishing, and I'm gonna
yes,
say ice
yeah,
camera.
because I want to be able to not only get out there and film in the summer, but also film in the winter. And I need to get something that can be able to hook up to like a DVR or have a built-in DVR. I know Aquaview and Markham, and there's all these different brands. They all make them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
Mm-hmm.
enough about them yet, but I want to be able to record that because watching somebody ice fish when it's just a Markham and me, not that
Mm-hmm.
exciting. But if you can see
Yeah.
into the water,
Yeah.
inherently more appealing. Is that even a word? Put it on the list. Do
I know
better
what
at
you meant.
words.
Okay, Tim's fishing goal: do better at words. Yeah, I'm not
Tim, do
sure that's a
better
fishing
at
goal, but well,
words.
it's real.
Get brain gooder. So he not bad at words. So bad. Yes. But no,
Yes, yes.
a camera. I want to get that camera. I want to get out there. I want to do a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff. And
But yeah, that's why I
yeah.
put it underneath the walleye, because you've been ice fishing and you've done you've now like more than dipped your toes in the water with ice fishing, but you're not
Yes.
all in yet. And so that's why when you said specifically walleye ice fishing, like the way you said it and described it was like, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, of course. Because
Yeah.
you've just been out learning the real basics. Like I throw something down, I just want to get fish out of the water. And now it's like
Right.
you're putting it down specifically walleye. Like be patient.
Yes.
Sure. Might
Mm-hmm.
pull a crappie. Okay. Might get a perch. Yep.
If
It's gonna
I go out
happen.
for a walleye and I get big perch or big crappies, I will accept that as a win, knowing that I was able to get the big fish in.
Mm-hmm.
Where,
Mm-hmm.
because there's not a whole lot different between fishing for like a large crappie or a
Yep.
walleye through the ice.
Okay.
So
Sure.
I'll take that, but I do want to catch a walleye to know that I was like able to get to where the walleye were and stuff,
Right.
because I think the panfish are, especially bluegills, the
Okay.
numbers are so much more vast that there's a lot more area to find them in. So walleyes
Oh,
is the main
you're just
target.
like the number of fish that are just in the water, generally speaking.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess
Okay.
I guess like walleye is the main target. That would be the best for me. Like if I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
pull
Yeah.
that
For sure.
off, I'm gonna like be over the moon. If I get one through the hole, I don't even care how big it is. Knowing that I
Right.
accomplished the goal is gonna be just like catching a big fish in the summer. It's gonna be like, yes, I'm gonna
Right.
start punching the ice. No, not ice is hard. I
Don't
won't.
don't punch
I'm
the
not
ice. It's super
stupid.
hard.
I can break
You
my
will hurt your
hand.
hand.
Just like, yes, oh, broken hand. That was worth catching this small walleye. But
Yeah, you don't do that. You drive a
no,
stick for a living.
right. Well, I drive a stick with the right hand. I'm left-handed, so I'm probably punching the ice with the left hand. But my steering hand, yeah, whatever.
What are you gonna do?
Eh,
Steer with your teeth?
probably.
I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. Yeah, I can't steer with my knees. The wheel's too high up. Tried before
Jeez,
eating a
even for how
sandwich.
tall you are. Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
like the idea of you saying
just
specifically walleye.
yes, I want to catch the walleye, but like just catching something with an upsized lure too. Just having the
Sure.
patience to get a big enough fish to bite it. If
Mhm.
I get
Yeah.
a small aggressive sunfish to bite one, I'm not counting that. But I'll be excited if I catch anything bigger to be able to eat a larger lure. So I definitely
Yeah,
bought enough jigs and stuff. I have enough different things to give them a look at. Now I just need to try to put it all together. That's the goal this
sure.
year, is to really, really
Mhm.
nail it down and figure out
Right,
why the
right.
fuck some of these guys are in the spots that they are. That's another one. Try to figure out
Put it down.
why, try to figure
Okay.
out some of these spots a little bit better to understand, cuz I got GPS. I can look exactly where some of these guys are, and they seem to be just like in the most random ass spot. Like, I would not fish where you are in the summer. I do not know why you're there right now. That's one thing
I'm
that
gonna
has
say,
confused me.
yeah, why are ice fishers where they are? And the sub point to this is I would oh, they seem to fish. This is what I'm putting on. Where I would never fish in the
Yeah.
summer. That's literally what
So
it says now. That'll
to
be
put it
above
on
the
wax
document.
here, to put it on
Mm-hmm.
wax. We don't have to put it in the dock. My assumption is that they're fishing for suspending fish. I just
Yep.
don't know why they choose their spot that they are. I don't know if they're just like,
Mm-hmm.
suspending fish move. They'll come past me eventually. Or
Oh. Okay.
is it
Mm-hmm.
literally, I've thought of this too. They're trying to go where the food is. If I go out into a spot like that and I put down like a a lipless crankbait, like a rattle bait, got
Mm-hmm.
the rattles,
Mm-hmm.
good vibration, and I jig that a couple
Okay.
times, you can almost feel it, hear it. That's what it feels like in the
Y-
water. You can feel it when you're
Yep.
jigging
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Am I calling in fish? Is that what they're doing?
Mm.
They just go out there, put a couple aggressive baits in the water, and all the fish come running, because they're like, it feels like there's some
Yeah.
food over this way. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Did the
yeah,
milkshake
I
bring
think I
all
need to
their
get in more
poison? Yep.
forums. If anybody's listening to this and they know more about ice fish and they want to let us know, I just need to do more research and talk to people because when you do any research on trying to find fish in the winter, you get the real
Mm-hmm.
hardcore guys with snowmobiles that are literally just like, here's how we find fish. And they're just like drilling a million holes and driving everywhere. And it's like,
Right. Right.
can somebody tell me why you put your permanent there, though? I don't want the guy
Right.
that's drilling a
Right.
million holes. I want to know why this guy decided this house is going to sit here for weeks.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to figure
Yeah.
out.
Okay. Really, really good point. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to put that permanent part, but damn, that really hit it home. It was really like, yeah, that's right. They don't move
Yeah.
those things.
No, they set
Huh.
it there and then they set it and forget it.
Okay. I'm gonna go into, and I don't you should end up with more than me, I'm guessing, by the end of the year. I mean, by the end of this podcast. Just
Right.
talking about the year. Got it all mixed up. I'm guessing you're gonna end up with more than me, but I want to go into my next one is catfish fry. That's the goal.
Ooh.
The
I like
goal
it.
is catfish fry because that lays out that actually lays out a lot of things in my opinion. And I don't think I'm going to I may as we talk because that's what's been happening as we talk I kind of put like sub points on this, but I said catfish fry, which
Yeah.
indicates that I have to go out with people. I have to go out and we have to go out and get enough catfish to eat. Like
Right.
I'm not saying I have to have a pile of it laying in front of me on a table, but
Yeah.
enough to be like, let's have a little gathering around the catfish. I
Sure.
have not I haven't caught a catfish since me, you, and Sam went out 10
Dude,
years
I was
ago.
just gonna say, if we want to have a catfish fry, we need to go to that same lake with Sam because it seemed like that's all that's in that lake.
That's kind of what
Because
I
we
was thinking too.
we
It's
we just need
almost
to go
like,
back to that
Sam,
lake.
if you're listening to this, hit us up. I think that's what we have to do this summer. I think we have to make a plan because I'm not
I
kidding.
think, yeah.
I want to do a fry.
What's the best time to go fishing for catfish? I don't know.
I
Let's
don't
do it
know.
though.
That's part of what I have to do is just
Yeah,
like figure out like I live in an area that has a decent amount of rivers and uh other types of water that feed the Mississippi and Minnesota because I'm right in that sort of area around the cities where it all starts to converge into those two big feeds.
yeah,
Uh don't I haven't had any luck still pulling
mm,
catfish out of there. Now I've talked to a couple people who think that they got some spots and I found out some stuff over the summer of
nice.
2021. So,
All right,
those people I
that's
will
what I like to
definitely
hear.
talk to.
Yeah, for
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sure.
One guy might get on the podcast here. I got to talk to him a little bit more, but he's from he spent a lot of time down in Georgia. He's like the last um few years of his life he's been in Georgia
Okay.
and they have like tournaments and other things like they rough fish down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Is it
Yeah.
catfish isn't a rough fish though? Is it?
I thought they were. You know what? I could be wrong. I could be wrong. That may not be just because it's a bottom feeder doesn't necessarily mean it's a rough fish. So I could be unfairly
Right.
categorizing. For somebody who loves catfish so much as far as like food goes, really appreciates their, you know,
I don't
ability
know
to
that.
get huge and be like a river
Yeah,
monster. I love that shit about the catfish. I don't
that
know as
brought
much
up
as I should.
that brought up a question for me just now, where I guess I don't know what the actual definition of rough fish is. That's just what we
Shit,
call all the fish we don't like.
we we don't eat. You're right.
Yeah, everything
You're
that
right.
is like, we're just like, yeah, it's a rough fish.
And the reason why I brought up that guy who spent a lot of time in Georgia is because uh he's talked a lot about we've talked a lot about carp fishing, cat fishing, stuff like that. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, that's what they do down south. They do that. But up north you don't hear a lot of cat fishing.
Yeah. So
You just don't. So I don't
it
have a ton of people around me to just like my neighbor catfishes. Like, no,
right.
that's just not a thing.
Yeah, right. So I just Googled it, and it's literally like what I said. The rough fish is
Really?
a term used by some United States agencies and anglers to describe fish that are less desirable to sport anglers within a defined region.
Really?
So it's literally we just call whatever we don't like a rough fish. We're just like, ugh.
So I think as Minnesotans we call catfish rough fish.
I would think that a decent amount of
A
people
lot of
do, because you
Yeah,
try to
that's what I
catch.
mean. As far as the region goes, like if we were to
Yeah.
poll the region, right?
Yep.
They would end up calling it we would end
Yeah.
up calling it a catfish.
Because
I mean a
yeah,
rough
because I
fish.
think I think most people are not trying to catch them, and they end up catching that instead of the other stuff. Even me,
Mhm.
unless I'm planning on catching, no, I'd still get excited. But like a
Mhm.
bullhead, like
Yeah,
bullheads
I was
bite
actually
pretty
just gonna
good.
bring those up.
But if I'm on like a river and I was trying to catch something and I ended up catching a bullhead, I'd be excited
Mhm.
until I saw it was a bullhead. You know,
Sure. Sure.
I'd be like,
Yep.
oh, stupid ass bullhead, because I've done that before.
Oh
But
yeah, I've been there.
if it's a decent sized catfish, like if I'm having a good fight and it ends up being a catfish, I'm gonna be excited because
Sure.
like you
Sure.
alluded to, good eating. I'll bring it home fried up, unless it's off the Mississippi. Depending on the body of water, but I'll
Right,
definitely
yeah.
eat it.
Yeah, for sure. And actually that was I don't so bullheads, I've done enough research. I've done enough like cycling around for the Real AF TV podcast that
Yeah,
bullhead are sort of in the family of catfish, but they're not a catfish. They are called bullhead. Like it almost makes me
there's
want to
species.
say, yeah,
There's
yeah, but
there's
they're not.
species
They're
of
not. It's not
catfish.
like, but they're not called bullhead catfish. Like right, there's a
Right.
channel
No. Right.
catfish and
Yep.
there's a
Yep.
flathead
It's just
catfish, and
right.
so like,
Yeah.
yeah, so it falls into like sort of this weird area. But yeah, they're a whisker bottom feeder.
Right.
Like
Exactly. Yeah. They're a
I guess that's the
little.
best way to put it.
Right. They're a little version of it, but they're never gonna get any bigger. So
But yeah,
you
they
don't.
don't. Yep, they don't have the growth potential of like channels and blues and stuff like that. Right. Yep.
Right. Yep.
They just so well, and they tend to behave a little different too. I think we'll you know what? Fuck it, we'll do a whole episode on it. But I haven't caught a bullhead since I was a kid,
Mm.
and if I recall correctly, we've run across like schools of baby bullheads in your lake.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Uh
Yep.
in the
Yeah.
lake
Pretty
that
much
you
everywhere
primarily
you can.
fish.
Yeah. Pretty much everywhere. Dude, that's the
Okay.
weirdest shit ever. Too.
It's really creepy looking.
Chaminade is so like there are schools of baby bullheads right in the shallows,
Yeah.
and then I will
Okay.
see an adult dead one floating every once in a while. Other than that, I have never encountered a bullhead on that lake. So I see dead adults and I
Yeah.
see schools of babies.
Yeah.
I have
Okay.
no idea where they live or where you would find one. I have bobber fished everywhere in that lake. I have regular fished everywhere in that lake. It is nuts. You see a whole school of babies, and then you see dead adults. Where the dead adults live until they become dead, anybody's guess, man. I have no idea. It's so
What the
confusing.
heck?
And it's super
That is
clear water.
really
Like
confusing.
I've literally seen every other kind of fish just swimming around in the water. Never
Right.
seen a bullhead except for one time, I should say, preface 15 years ago, I saw one bullhead that was getting bullied by a bluegill. It was like swimming in the wrong area, and the bluegill was chasing it away from its bed. It was like, you get away. I'm just like, you guys not welcome in this lake. I don't know how you got in here. Like, I don't know what. It's just, it
That's
was
so
nuts.
weird.
Just
But
bullying that bullhead. And that was the only time I've seen an adult
yeah, so you've
alive.
never caught one, you've never like seen one alive other than that, which is
I
so
have
weird because I
seen
that's
more monster dogfish in that lake than I have seen alive bullheads. And there are still people that don't believe me when I say I'm pretty sure the state record dogfish is in this lake. There are some monsters. Because I think the state record's like 13 pounds, and I swear I've seen some 15,
Jesus.
20 pounders. They're
Oh
huge,
my
got to be like
god.
40 inches. And then you look
Maybe
at the
we should
state
put
record,
that
they're
down
like,
on the
nah,
list
it's only
of
like
go
12 pounds.
dogfish hunting.
Dude, I've literally said to myself, I need to just put like a chunk of meat, figure out what these things eat, and just like go and like cast up in the shallows where I know that they live and just wait and do my
Yeah,
best. Like, let's break a state record here because I bet it's in there.
there. Okay,
Yes.
Tim's break a state record.
Put it
Okay, I
on the
got that one
list.
down.
Let's get it done. We'll see if we get to check it off. How good would it feel to actually check it off?
You're not serious, are you? You really want me to
Put
put
it
it on
in
there?
the list. Put it on the list.
Okay,
Let's see if we get to check it
break
off.
break
It'll be a good moment to
state.
go back and be like,
I'll put
we
in
had a
fish
premonition. The state
record.
record was gonna get broke. We got it on wax. We put it in a dock. It was ready to get checked off.
Put it out there to
And
the
then we
public for
checked it
everybody
off.
to see.
Yeah.
So the bullheads, like that's so weird because I haven't caught a bullhead since I was a kid. It's been over 20 years since I caught a bullhead. And I'm just like, how were we catching bullheads again? And I am thinking maybe if I go catfishing, I'm gonna end up catching bullheads. I don't know, but I'm like, that's not it. Though I do at some point desire to eat bullhead because I hear people are just like, well, they're not worth it. Just get them out of here. Rough fish, basically, right?
Yeah.
But I've heard they're good eating still.
I think they inherently have to be, right? They're just like a small
I think
version of a catfish. I think they're probably just
right.
more trouble than they're worth. Is the
Right.
thing. You got the
Yes. I
spines
think
on
that
the
is
on the fins and stuff, and it's just kind of
right.
a they're a little bit of a pain in the ass to clean in the first
Right.
place.
Right.
And when you make it smaller, when it's big, it's like even if you fuck up, you're still getting a big piece of meat.
Right.
But when
Really
they're
good point.
little, you got to be pretty precise and know what you're doing.
Right.
And
Yeah. So I'm not gonna add. I'm just
who's
gonna
a
say catfish fry. I'm not
yeah,
gonna add bullhead to that. Not this time. I'm just gonna say it's gotta be catfish.
I have to find some old lady, be like, listen, we need somebody who knows how to clean bullheads. And they're the only ones that have any idea how to do it.
I think so. I think you're
Some
right.
like
I have
old
to find
Russian
some lady in
lady.
her 70s. She's like, "Oh
Yeah,
yeah, we used to clean the bullheads all the time." Like, what?
an 80-year-old
Oh.
Russian lady. Just be like, I need to learn how to clean these because the spines are kind of dangerous. She's just like, pussy, pussy.
Just grabs the bag of bullheads out of your hand and come with
Right.
me.
I will show you how to
Oh.
clean this pussy. She sounds just like that.
Yeah, she just sounds like this heavy duty Russian
Oh,
guy.
oh, the spines might poke me.
She's making fun of you the whole time.
Right. Just takes the fillet that when she's like, you want the fillet, you go get it, bitch. Throws it across the room. Oh, old Russian ladies are mean.
That's great. Hey, what do you say? Should we stop here for a second and do a Monster Bass sponsorship?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Here we go. Oh, I should. Yeah. Let's do that. I mean, I'm gonna keep this all in. I'm gonna keep this all in.
All right.
All right. All right. Let's talk about our sponsor, Monster Bass. We are a little bit affiliated with Monster Bass in the sense that if you go to realaf.tv/monsterbass, it will bring you to Monster Bass and it will let them know that we sent you. So that way it helps them, helps you, helps us. Help out the podcast. Go to realaf.tv/monsterbass. Tim, what's Monster Bass?
Monster Bass is a fantastic organization. They make mystery bags. They call them boxes. I think I said this before, but they're bags. And a bag is better than a box because the bags come in nice clear pouches that unzip and zip back up. And I might have forgot to preface this last time when I was saying that they help you organize. On the front, they have an orange little spot that you can write on. So you can write down what you have in the bag. Say like soft plastics, whatever this is or whatever. But it comes with a bunch of lures every month. And it's just like Christmas every month. It's awesome. Or whatever you celebrate. You know, I don't know. Do you get cool stuff?
Whatever kind of celebration you happen to be having that
Whatever
month, Monster
celebration
Bass
you have.
is going to surprise you.
It's your birthday every month. We all have those. It's your birthday every month. You get to open it up and they hook you up with dope lures, quality stuff. And then they also have some terminal tackle in there, which is awesome. Like if you get a soft plastic and you're like, this is cool, what am I supposed to fish it on? Most of the time, that soft plastic has the hooks, the weights. You're ready to go. All you need to do is have a fishing line and the rod and the reel, all that stuff set up. But it is awesome. So you can choose your different sizes of bags, get your stuff, and then they have the golden ticket. Gives you a chance to win more stuff. That comes in every single bag. They give you cool stickers for your new products and stuff. And they give you a comprehensive list of what each piece is and how much it would cost if you bought it in the store, because you get a good deal on all this stuff too. You get way more stuff than you pay for every time.
Nice.
So it's a great,
very nice.
Yeah, great deal. And it's just awesome. It's like, you know, when you were a kid and you were excited to get the mail, you know, because you just like, if it has your name on it, you know it's something good. Now you're an adult, like most of the mail sucks shit. This makes it exciting to go to the mailbox again. It's like, oh, Monster Bass Day, it's here.
Yeah, man, that is a great way to put it. And I love the fact that you pointed out that it's always quality stuff, right? You're not just getting a dumpy bag of lures or something like that from the clearance bin. It's good stuff. So if you want to help out the podcast, go to realaf.tv/monsterbass. It'll bring you over to Monster Bass's website. So that way they know that we sent you. Hook up the angler in your life if you're feeling gifty, or just help yourself out.
Treat yourself.
And get excited about going to the mailbox again.
Yes, for sure.
All right, Tim, let's get back into the podcast. We are talking fishing goals. And so far, let's recap. It's been a little while. We got you be ready for a good stretch of time with cameras during walleye season specifically.
Yep.
Ice fish for walleye specifically. You want to target a species while ice fishing this year. Ice cameras on there, you know, financials, all that. Like, can I coordinate this in enough time to make that happen? Got an asterisk next to it. Why are ice fishers where they are? That blows your mind, and you really want to get to it.
Out. Want to know why
So
you got the permanent there?
yeah, I put a note on there just because I think it was this note needs to be set out to the public because we're going to release this list on realaf.tv. We're going to put it out on our social medias. Community, follow us along. The idea is the community will follow us on this journey here. We'll check in throughout the year. So get back to the list. More fishing with cameras in general, something you want to do. And then we threw,
Yes.
not too long before the break, we threw on break the state dogfish record.
Yes.
I love
That's right.
that you're like, put it on there.
Put it on the dock.
I keep it more broad, not being as avid of a fisherman as you are. I got just walleye fishing for eaters using my new gear though. Like that is like sort of the caveat to that one. It's like, I want to use my new gear. Spent 2 years of Christmas opening up new gear. Want to give it a shot. Pikes, pickled pike bites. It's not that hard. I know that we can do this one. We're going to make an episode out of it too. Actually, I'm going to put that on there. I don't have that. I'm going to put down Real AF TV episode. Because that's a Real AF TV episode if I ever heard one. Fishing and cooking. Yep. Let's go. And then I put down catfish fry, which again is broad, but it has a lot to it.
Sure.
There's a lot to it. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
What else you got, Tim? Is there anything else you want to add that you can think of off the top of your head? I know you keep a running list as someone who does a lot of fishing. I know you got a list in your head.
I need to fish more in fall. I failed on that one too. When it got later in the year, it was like the wife and other people are all like, fishing's over. And I'm like, fishing is not over. But everybody else
we said that several times on the podcast as well. I was like, hey, this is good season. Don't give up.
And like not fishing from shore. Like I need to get out there. I need to be like, just get your outfit on and don't tip the boat over. You know, it's like, don't capsize. You need to stay off the water. It's too cold.
Don't capsize.
Don't capsize. It's too cold to be getting in the water right now, you know? So it's like you got to stay out of the water and you got to go fishing. But that kind of I was super excited to do it this year, and then fall came and it was like everybody's like, fishing's over. We made plans for every single weekend. So now and I'm just like, nah, I said I was going to go though, guys.
Right.
Dang it.
Right. Yeah. So this is a way of you putting it down and just saying, like, hey, come on. I really want to do this. Yeah. No, I that's kind of the way that I view this whole list in general, is like, put it down so that way there is something for us to go back, check in on, you know, do this in the middle of summer. Or let's say we check back in the middle of summer and then you see more fall fishing on there. And you're like, yeah, say we do a half Christmas episode check-in. But seriously, like if, you know, we're going to check in throughout the year and you see this and you see more fall fishing, you're like, oh yeah, for sure. I got to plan that. I got to make sure that my whole fall isn't taken up now that summer's over and people are like, well, summer's over. Time to do stuff again. You're like, whoa.
Yep. Oh,
no, that's really good.
Here's another one. Put it in the dock because we need to speak this into existence. I need to get a studio set up here. I'm sitting in this corner. We have plans already. I don't know if I ever said it on the podcast. I have.
Actually,
I think I said it right at the end, and it was like, if you listen to the whole episode right at the end, it's like, what? Because I had cats. They're dead now. I had 2 of them. Yes. I didn't kill them. Well, I mean, one of them got put down.
On us now, everybody. Keep your head in the game.
Yeah, one of them got put down, but that was only because it was like the end of the road. You know, it was one of those deals.
And it was the suffering situation.
It was humane. It was with a vet. You know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Preface that because I just wanted to say that because I just dropped that whole bombshell of like, I had cats, they're dead
Yeah,
now.
they're
Just be
dead
like,
now.
yeah, that sounded a little bit harsh.
Right. I understand what you're saying.
But they, dude, okay, I'm gonna let people in on a little information here. One of the cats was an idiot. The dumbest fucking cat I've ever met, ever. That cat my wife found underneath some steps of a deck all by itself late fall, and it was raining. It was cold and it was wet and it was meowing because it was underneath this deck all by itself, like, help me. Which obviously you're like, we need to help this thing. But in
Yeah.
hindsight, it was there because it was a fucking idiot. I don't know how it got separated, how it was by itself. Obviously, there was like another cat with it at one point. I
At
don't know
some
how it
point.
ended up by itself, but it did. And then it came into my house, and then it was just a dumb thing the whole time. Just, I don't need to get into all the dumb stuff it did. But one thing
Right.
that it did was it would get bladder infections. And when it had bladder infections, it decided that it wasn't going to take any medicine to make it better. And we would try to force feed it this stuff. And like it got to a point where instead of pills, you had to like give it this liquid, and you would give it this liquid,
Yep.
and it would go stand in the corner and just drool it out. It wouldn't swallow it, just
No.
stand there like an idiot, just drooled it out, staring at the corner, just drooling it out of its mouth. And you're just like, it's already in your fucking mouth. Just swallow it, you idiot. This is gonna make you better. But it wouldn't. It refused to. And when they have bladder infections, apparently they pee sometimes where they're comfortable.
Right.
So it ruined our couches. Those are
Yep.
gone. The downstairs ones. It ruined our carpet. That's all gone. But now the cats are gone. So we are going to recarpet the basement. We're going to do some work down here, and I'm going to turn a room into a studio, knowing that I'm not going to have to worry about this shithead pissing on everything.
Hell yeah. Tim's home studio. I just started another category just called Real AF TV Goals because I think this is a good one to close on. I already mentioned Spotify videos. I'm going to look into Spotify videos for sure. And you know what? Launch YouTube fishing videos.
Boom. Bang,
Now,
bing, boom.
that's right. We're putting it out there for
Yep.
everybody
Yep.
to look at, to see, to be like, hey, there it is. Check us on it. Come on.
Yes. And because you're talking about videos, the studio isn't going to be just for podcasting. We're going to make some videos there where
Some
I just like
in-studio
lures,
videos.
want to talk about lures, want to bring up some stuff. Just,
Yes.
there's more videos to be made. Lots of ideas.
More than podcasts.
Need the resources to pull them off.
Yes.
And hopefully,
video editing takes a lot of time.
for the new year, stop people from stealing my shit so we don't go backwards anymore.
So frustrating. Again, if you haven't heard, this is your first entry into the Real AF TV podcast. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Share with your friends. We mentioned it before. We could use your support over on patreon.com/realaftv. Real, like fishing real. Because that is how we're planning on funding this and doing what we want. So that way we're doing what you want us to do. Obviously,
very true.
We have to start somewhere. We're going to do what we want. And we think we're making stuff you want to see. And then we want your feedback on the stuff that we're making so we can make it better and we could grow this thing together. And we were decently equipped for some in-studio stuff, some out-of-studio stuff. Tim had a nice camera. Fucking someone robbed him. Bitch.
Yeah.
So, if you can support us, that'd be cool. It's really shitty. And video editing takes time. We want to keep doing this. We want to keep growing. And that's my plug. Tim, anything fishing before we start talking about like, subscribe? Smash the like button. We got a pretty good
Mm,
list right now. We can add to it later too. I only have 3 things, which I'm not disappointed
yeah,
in.
I mean, I don't really. I think that's a good start. I think I'm in a good spot.
Yeah.
Knowing my goals, knowing wanting to get out in fall, wanting to get the
Yeah.
walleye stuff in spring. All
Uh-huh.
the other stuff is there that I'm gonna do already, and I don't want to put any pressure on myself by being like, I need to catch a muskie this year.
Right.
But oh no, here's one.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
necessarily I need to catch a muskie this year, but I need to
Okay.
go out fishing
Oh, yes.
with the Kyogre lure.
Yes.
The Pikachu one's going too, but I need to go out fishing with this.
That's
To have, uh, I need to put some time on the water with this at least. If I don't catch anything, that's what it
okay.
is. But
We'll say the coyote.
I'm not gonna put any pressure on myself. I will catch a fish off of this as long as I don't have some gear error where like a line breaks or something. But
Yes.
this will catch a fish.
Yes.
Muskie,
Thank you.
hopefully. But yes, this
Thank you
this
so
is
much for
one.
saying that. Because it was actually one of them that I was going to suggest for you and say like, "Hey man, we did that whole Pokemon unboxing video and everything like that.
Yeah,
I put mine in my display case now, my video game
yeah,
case that's behind me. I put my lure in there because for me, it's a video game memorabilia that just so happens to overlap with fishing and just like be that perfect mesh of
yeah,
things, right? And
yep,
so I see it all the time is what I'm saying. And I had it in my mind before the podcast. I was going to bring it up and be like, oh yeah, Tim, we have to put this one down, right? We have to put it
yep,
down.
yep.
I would have totally forgotten. So I'm so glad that you had it just sitting there behind you and remember to put it on. It's there and achievable too. Like all these are achievable.
Mm-hmm.
We just have
Yes,
to put them
definitely.
out there, keep looking at them
Yep.
and go for it. I think
Yeah, because I said I wanted to
the
fish with it.
dogfish one's a little crazy, but that's okay.
It's achievable. It's crazy, but achievable. They're all achievable.
Right.
Everything's achievable through the power of
Well,
Christ.
yeah, yeah. But I
No,
meant like
just
realistic, right? They're realistic.
I'm not
Everything
religious.
on the
Sorry,
list is realistic.
that
What?
was a
Sorry.
that was inside baseball for me. Sorry, I was making myself laugh on that one. I
Oh,
said
okay.
everything's achievable through the power of Christ.
I missed that part because I just started talking.
But the Kyogre was one of those like with the fall where I said to myself like
Mhm,
fall is the perfect time to go fishing for muskies. Like this is something I need to do is get out here fishing in the fall. And then I
mhm,
didn't, and
mhm.
clearly it's a good time to go fishing for muskies because the state record was broke right before the ice hit,
Yep. Right. Yep.
So
That's right. Yeah, good point. And thank you for bringing up the Pokemon lure. I got it down there. Specifically the Kyogre one I put down. I know you're going to bring Pokemon or Pikachu too, but I think that big one is the one that you're like, I'll catch it.
yeah, Pikachu
I'll do
Pikachu
it.
will get used more often than
Sure.
the Kyogre because the Pikachu I
Mhm.
can realistically fish for bass like
Mhm.
on a regular basis if I wanted to
Right.
because
Right.
it mimics more stuff that it
Yep.
realistically sees. It looks like a rodent.
Right.
I mean, it is the color of a duck. Like it 100%
Mhm.
is a legitimate topwater lure. Not saying the
Yeah.
Kyogre isn't. It's just so much bigger that it's just like fishing
Limiting your
for
species just by
yeah.
size.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
Yep.
Because it's just
Yep.
like anything else. If you put on a big giant lure, you're not going to catch all. You're only going to catch big fish for the most part,
Right.
or one
Right. Yeah.
crazy ass little one. It's
Which happens.
I've caught
Or two crazy
yeah,
little ones. That happens too.
I've caught more than my fair share of fish that are like the same size as the lure, and you're like, what were you
Right.
thinking, dude?
Like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
Uh, awesome, man. I think we got a really good list here. Let's do the normal the things that we're supposed to normally be doing, and that's Real AF TV, Real Like Fishing Real. Look us up on social media, Instagram, Twitter for sure. Sorry, I really had something in my throat there.
Oh, I totally get it,
I had to
man.
get rid of.
If you're on
was like
YouTube, you've seen
tickling
me
me.
mute this microwave. You've seen me mute the microwave, 35, 40 times during this one day. Hold on, try not to fry my vocal cords. I'm speaking in this microwave here.
But yeah, we're most active on Instagram, Twitter. Hit us up on the Facebooks, but go over to YouTube and, we would love the likes and subscribe and stuff like that to grow that channel, because we are going to be putting more stuff on there. And the video podcast is now live on the YouTube channel. Just look us up. Real AF TV, Real Like Fishing Real. And realaf.tv is the website, and that'll just pretty much direct you wherever you think you need to consume our content. We appreciate it. We love the feedback.
Yeah.
Hit us up. We'll talk back to you for sure.
Yeah. Nana boo boo.
Stick
Just
your head
talking back to him. Talking back.
No. And other childish responses.
Right. And there you have it. What am I?